Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Happy July. Please continue to pray for me by singing along with me, gesturing at your screen, leaving a dislike on this video. Today, I'm actually going to be moving to a different hotel in the opposite side of town. And I got a few things I want you guys to pray for. Pray that I make more connections over there. I had a couple good connections here in the hostel. One night, one event sticks out. One night, I kept getting interrupted by this large African American guy. I hate to even be racist, but I think it puts a better picture in your mind if you see him as a large African American guy. And I was so frustrated. I said, I guess you don't want to listen to me. And I walked away from the table. And this Malaysian girl comes up to me to talk to me after they had dispersed uh, because she knew that large crowds would be difficult with me. And we're still talking. Unfortunately, I discovered that she smoked cigarettes, and I gave her a tip for how she might quit smoking. I asked her where are you traveling next, because I know she's traveling throughout Asia, and I told her to pick one of her favorite cities on that list and try to enjoy it without the cigarettes because it'll be new to her. She'll never have any association with smoking with that place, and if she likes it after the few days of traveling there, to just continue that. That's the tip I gave her, and she promised to try that, so that's good. Um, and then there was this other girl who I helped with finding an ATM in town. We had a good time looking for the right ATM for her bank. That was kind of like a mission. And we're still talking. So hopefully I'll have more interactions like that. I really suck with large groups though, and unfortunately I don't have such a big voice. Every time I try to speak in a large group, my voice gets completely drowned out. Now, one other thing that I desperately want to sort of, even more so than potentially meeting my future wife here, I noticed that ever since arriving in Taiwan, I've been hitting my life goals so much easier when I'm on vacation. Something about my home life is stressing me out, which is really weird because I have good roommates and I have a good job to go to. I don't know what at home is stressing me out. What kind of life goals am I talking about? Well, every day I find myself surprised when I look at the clock. I've already fasted 16 hours and I hardly even miss a thing. I hardly even notice I'm doing anything hard. Back home, fasting 12 hours or even 10 hours sometimes can be really tricky. I also notice that when I do have, I'm a recovering binge eater. When I do have a binge attack here in Taiwan, they tend to end very easily. I don't tend to go into the spiral. You know how sometimes you end up chasing your losses? You feel like you've already eaten too much. What's the harm in eating more? I might as well have everything that I wanted. And I find at home, I go down that spiral too often. Here in Taiwan, that spiral never begins in the first place. I just accept that I ate a little bit too much and I move on. And something at home is stressing me. It could also just be the association I have with, just like the girl with her smoking at home. There's so many cues to overeat because I've done it before, right? It could also be that, right? Um, I also haven't masturbated in almost a month now. I began June 2nd, if you can believe it. June 4th was Polish Idol season one winner Elisa Janazi's birthday. She turned 40 years old. I used to fantasize about her too much, and so I chose her birthday. Yeah, it's kind of a tradition every year. I think about NoFap around the time of her birthday, and now this time it's been a month. I'm also sleeping a whole lot better. Most nights, my head hits the pillow and that's it. It's lights out. Uh, I guess at home, I'm more at liberty to make noise, and I think that might be one reason that's keeping me up, right? Uh, and also, my bedroom is just has too many cues of stay. There are too many nights that I've spent in my room doing things other than sleeping, and I need to stop doing that. Come to think of it, I sleep really well anytime I go anywhere because I don't have the cues and my bedroom becomes associated with art projects, with writing computer games, with binge eating, with stressful phone calls, right, and it just doesn't become a good place to sleep anymore. Uh, what other goals? So I've been dating a girl long distance, and looks like she's going through a lot. Though she confessed the other day that she had fought with her sister, and the two of them had stopped talking. And I'm gonna have to see where that belongs in my life, and soon, because next week there's a speed dating event that I might go to. I haven't signed up for it yet, but I might go to that. So I got to sort out where she belongs in my life. Uh, so a little bit of background: Taiwan has a huge birth rate crisis, and speed dating is heavily promoted here as a result, as a solution to that. And unfortunately, the Taiwanese are not shy about boasting that they don't want to have children. Right? Yesterday, I wanted to play devil's advocate with this guy because I wanted to see how to respond to it. I told him that I felt he was selfish for not wanting to have children because his lifestyle was predicated on not everybody following his, right? And I wanted to see how he would respond to that, just so I know how to respond to that in the future. He thought I was actually criticizing him, but I was fishing for good ways to talk about it. And he said that the world needs kind of both kinds of people, and so he doesn't care. And he's basically living at a faster rate than everybody. And I said, well, he's the way he brought it up was that he said that he's living for today. And I said, don't you think that's selfish? You're born with all this talent and you're just going to burn it up and only live to be 60 years old? He says, no, because in 60 years, I could accomplish what people do in 200 years. That was his response. And I said, well, what about the not having children? You have such great genes and talent, and you're just going to throw that into the trash can. And also, you realize that your lifestyle is predicated on not everybody living like this, right? He says, of course, yours is too, right? We need both kinds of people. And so that's a good response. I'll have to keep that in the back of my head. Problem is that in the United States, people don't openly criticize, right? So you don't even get the opportunity to say any of that. Uh, all right. So pray that I find some answers on what's stressing me out back home. Because, like I said, I look at the clock and already 31 hours. And it's like, it doesn't happen like that when I'm working for some reason. And I don't even, Peter, dislike my job. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Uh, all right. And pray that I pivot my career here in Taiwan. I never have to deal with any sort of workplace harassment because that's what's holding me back in the U.S. I actually, Peter, like all of my students and most of my colleagues, but the one or two colleagues will always drag everything. It only takes one, right? It's just like in a hostile environment. There's always that one person who doesn't go with everything, right? So I tend to be a little bit loud, and normally people don't complain, but it only takes one. That's the most frustrating part, right? See, people always say that I'm in the minority. No, I think the majority don't care. In any given situation, the majority are always going to be in the don't care crowd, right? You got some people, let's say for the purposes of noise, right? Some people like to make noise. Some people like to complain about the noise. The bulk of the people are probably in the don't care club, right? When I was working at a different tutoring center, and I had a really bad sensitivity to certain fragrances that people would bring to the office. Some people love to wear fragrances. Some people won't give them up no matter what. Die-hard fragrance fans, right? Some people have MCS or some other condition that are sensitive to fragrances. But the bulk of the people are probably going to be in the don't care crowd, right? So this whole idea that I'm in the minority, yeah, so is the other group, right? It's really about which way you can swing the don't care crowd. It's just like an election, right? The people who decide on the policy are the people who care the least, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.